Three terror strikes in under 3 days and all south of Pir Panjal, close to Jammu, in Kathua, in Riyasi and in Doda. Terror clearly has a new address in Jammu and Kashmir. Did New Delhi underestimate Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror and celebrate peace in Kashmir prematurely? Union Home Minister Amit Shah had said terror would be eliminated by 2026. Is the government on track, or is this a lull? And after this lull, will there be another storm? Joining me on this special broadcast is General VP Malik, former Chief of the Army Staff. 25 years ago, General VP Malik had led the Indian Army to victory in Kargil. General, as always, welcome on India Today. General,
thank you.
What do you make of this spurt in terror in Riyasi, Kathua and Doda? 3 attacks in 3 days, sir.
Gaurav, firstly, although there is situation is quite peaceful in Kashmir and most people are happy about it, but I think they forget that for India and for Indians, the route to Kashmir is via Jammu. So for me, strategically, Jammu is more important. And as you said, there have been 3 incidents in the last 72 hours, which is indeed worrisome. Now, analyzing these incidents, you notice that one incident has taken place at Hiranagar, which is very close to the border.
Yes.
And the other 2 incidents have taken place at Riyasi and Doda, which are far away from the line of control or international border. Now, Hiranagar incident, apparently the locals got to know about it.
Yes.
They informed the police, and then police with the paramilitary forces and the army, they managed to inflict and neutralize the militants or the terrorists there. So it goes to show that firstly, this activity of placing people in Riyasi and Doda has been going on for some time. It is not the effort today or yesterday or day before yesterday. These people must have been watching and they have been told what to do and what kind of damage to cause. And as far as Hiranagar is concerned, now that is another proof that if your cooperation with the locals along the border and information system, the surveillance system is good, then you can neutralize them. But if there is any failure in that, then you will have a problem and people will get through. And so there is absolute no question of any complacency along the line of control or
the international border.
That is the most important thing that must be remembered by us. Apparently, these people have managed to get through.
Absolutely, and that's my next question, because ADGP Jammu also said this appears to be prima facie fresh infiltration, indications that this happened along the international border. So where is the security apparatus in your appreciation found wanting?
Look, firstly, I must also admit that for 2 or 3 people to be able to sneak in despite all the technology and the human surveillance that we have, sometimes it is possible. But then we have to prevent that, and that can best be done by having a good surveillance network, including the locals in that area.
Yes.
Because the first information generally comes from the locals in that area if our security system or the surveillance system fails. So that must be strengthened by everybody. And I think that's a big lesson that we can draw from these 3 incidents that have taken place.
And sir, why do you see this and how do you explain this focus south of Pir Panjal? Kashmir is peaceful, but south of Pir Panjal, terror seems to see a spike in the past several years now.
Look, as I said, firstly, strategically, Jammu is more important for us. And Pakistan knows that because all the traffic, including the Yatris who will be going next month or this month and end of this month for Amarnath Yatra, they have to go through. And if they can create these kind of incidents along the highways, in the buses, etc., they would have succeeded in their aim of, creating that position, the situation. And secondly, I must also say that today the grid in Kashmir is pretty tight, and still the density of troops in the valley also for Amarnath Yatra is very tight. But we did take away some troops from Jammu region,
Yes.
and although we have been able to pump in some more, but I think the situation has not fully stabilized, as we can see from the incident that have taken place in Poonch Rajouri area earlier, and now these three incidents.
Because you're absolutely right, sir. Security forces have been ambushed in Rajouri and Poonch areas, including 9 para special forces. They've been ambushed both in the jungles and on the main road. It would appear because of weakening of some kind of the security grid or larger gaps, terrorists seem to have a free run, sir.
As I said, for 2 or 3 people to be able to get in is not so difficult. It's not impossible. Let's face it that way. And once they are inside, then they can have free run. And they will always find few people who will support them. And the jungles in these areas.
Yes.
These mountains are not high, but they are thick jungles. And for 2-3 people to escape, we've seen earlier incidents like what happened in Nagrota and other places. So it's not very difficult for these people to get into jungle and then run away from there.
So in your appreciation, what do we need? Do we need another Operation Sarpvinash like in 2003, a sustained assault to wipe out terrorism from that area?
Well,
or
we will have to carry out a similar operation, I think, in these regions, different regions. But that is going to take a lot of troops as well as time. And but one thing I must say here, Gaurav, to you, is that it's not only operation like Sarvinash. We must be overt as well as covert in our proactive manner. We have at the moment there is there is a ceasefire on the LOC, but that ceasefire is not helping us much. And therefore, I think we must be able to take action if the ceasefire violation continue to take place as they are doing, not only on our side, but also on the other side of the border, both overtly as well as covertly. And, you cannot always be reactive. We need to be both proactive as well as reactive together in a situation like this.
General, you're speaking from experience because 25 years ago, when the Kargil war happened, a lot of troops from the counter-terrorism grid were pulled out and sent to the Kargil heights, and Pakistan exploited those gaps. How did you punish Pakistan post-1999?
There have been a lot of changes in the security system since then. Firstly, we are much better equipped, and we have got now much greater strength also. The density of troops along the border has definitely increased. And that is the reason why no major incident has taken place along the line of control or international border. I think they know that they will get a befitting answer if they try something like that. And what I have seen of the troops in Kashmir as well as in Kargil sector, troops are quite alert on the border. But when we are talking of the situation that has taken place in the recent past in the Jammu region of infiltration, it looks that Pakistan will continue to continue with its proxy war. They will not indulge in the kind of action which they did by wearing the jihadi clothes, but of the regulars.
Yes.
Now they will not indulge in that. They will continue making use of jihadis like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. And that threat will continue because on that, the Pakistani politicians have no control also. We have to remember that.
Fair enough. So what is your recommendation? Is it time for another Balakot or some other way to impose costs on the Pakistan army or the military jihad complex, sir?
Well, Pakistan must be made to pay for it. I'm quite firm on that. How we do it, I think we will leave it to the security forces and the people who are in charge of these actions. But I do believe that certain proactive actions will have to be taken both overtly and covertly to answer any incidents of this nature which are taking place now.
And in your appreciation, sir, can the situation flare up in Kashmir once again, whether it is stone pelting or local terrorists or foreign terrorists encouraging local terrorists or forcing local terrorists to target security forces or, God forbid, even civilians?
See, that's an important question because our judiciary has announced that we must hold elections very soon in the valley. So your question becomes very important. I do feel that if they have a few successes in Jammu region, then situation is likely to flare up in Kashmir also. And therefore, we must not be in a hurry to hold elections by September as we are hearing these days.
Okay.
We must take action and we must remain careful in the valley that this, if we make them pay for it, what is happening in Jammu, then they will not dare to do anything but maybe the elections can be postponed maybe to the next year. That's what I feel, looking at the situation as it exists today in Jammu as well as in Kashmir.
That's a very interesting point you make, that we should not rush with elections in Jammu and Kashmir, but perhaps either postpone it for next year or punish or impose costs on Pakistan before holding elections. Sir, where do you see the immediate threat now? Do you see the immediate threat to the Amarnath Yatra? Will the Pakistani terrorists want to make a bigger point that time? Or do you see a bigger threat in the valley just before elections?
Yeah, I think Amarnath Yatra itself, we will have to be more alert, and not only just in the Kashmir Valley, but also all the way now, starting from Jammu onwards. You know, after all, Doda is not very far away from the road. Neither
Yes.
is Riyasi. And most of these yatris will be going in convoys from Jammu all the way to Anantnag or Baltal, wherever they go.
Yes.
So we have to be more careful. We have to ensure security there. But as I said, that I think the security situation becomes more important before you indulge in. While we are encouraged by the kind of electioneering that has taken place in the recent past in the Kashmir Valley, but we cannot take it for granted that everything will be hunky-dory if we hold the election by September. There is a security threat in the area, and we must remain conscious of that. And before we go for election, we must give a sound answer to Pakistan so that they dare not do these things again.
Sir, you've been army chief and you've seen the situation both along India's northern borders and, of course, vis-a-vis Pakistan, the LAC and the LOC. Is there an apprehension when elections are being held in Jammu and Kashmir, or when the Amarnath Yatra is happening and the security forces are focused there, the northern borders could hot up?
Gaurav, I don't think we should see Pakistan as one entity. We should look at Pakistan as Pakistani politicians and Pakistan army. And as you know, as far as the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, our security situation in India is concerned, Pakistani politicians have hardly any role. And that is why there is no need to talk to them today, because all these important issues are controlled by Pakistani army. Now, Pakistan army, in its own institutional interest, would not like to see peace in Kashmir.
Yes.
We have to be conscious of that. And therefore, we must continue to expect situation of proxy war in Kashmir. And so this is a big challenge for us. And we have to face this challenge till we have a situation where the politicians in Pakistan can control the Pakistan army.
Of course, which means for a very long time, we'll have to prepare to battle Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. Sir, what is your appreciation of the situation along the India-China LAC?
Well, China, we have to keep watching that situation. We cannot afford to let go of our alertness, and we must continue to create the infrastructure which has been neglected for such a long time. And so the armed forces cannot be withdrawn from the LOC till there is a proper solution, diplomatic or political level. And in the meantime, what we are doing, I think, is the right thing. And I'm quite happy and satisfied with the way we are now bringing up our own villagers on our side of the LAC, sorry. And I think that good work must continue, and so must we continue with our infrastructure improvement.
Sir, for joining me here on this India Today special, many thanks. So you're saying that India must remain prepared and if need be, postpone elections in Jammu and Kashmir, or before elections, impose costs on the Pakistan army. We will track that story very, very closely. Gen VP Malik, for joining me here on India Today, as always, many thanks.